Hello everyone, welcome back to the shop. On the bench today we have the Hammarlund HQ140X communication receiver. Now this was gifted to me some time ago and just haven't had the time to get around to it. I do know there is multiple problems with this receiver, and I just wanted to do a quick video, get started on it, find out what's causing it to produce the problems that it has. Its receiver's down, doesn't receive that good. It supposedly had been recapped, and there's a lot of noise in it. So I'll turn it on and maybe hear some of the noise that's going on. I'll go ahead and let it warm up. Okay, we're tuned up on the 40 meter band. Now that I turn the camera on, it won't do it, but there it goes. Got a little popping noise in it. Okay, I was trying to find some single sideband activity, but there is none this morning. I will tell you, we had a storm the other week, and most of my dipoles are hanging straight down. So that's something I got to get out there. Unfortunately, today is not looking that good either, so we probably won't be able to get out there today and do anything to it. But it's still, you know, I've had some other receivers up here this week, and they receive pretty good on it. But when you find a single sideband station, it's almost next to impossible to tune it in. So like I say, there's some noise, and we don't know where the tuning is on this thing. So knowing that some of the problems that it's having at this point, we're going to go ahead and remove the unit on the chassis. We'll remove these 6 screws, and I don't think there's nothing on the bottom of this, and we should be able to slide this out. Another thing I want to look at on this chassis is that right here on this front corner panel is bent a little bit, and it seems to be pushed in, so we need to see about straightening that out. Alright guys, we're bottom side, and you know, looking under the bottom, it is very clean under here. It looks real nice, and we can see already there's 2 of them wax caps have been replaced. Now the good thing about this rig is that the 140X doesn't have a lot of paper caps in it. They use these disc capacitors throughout just about the whole rig, so you only got 2 caps that had to be replaced there. If we come on up, you can see there's one there on the back side of the speaker jack. Then over and just under the audio tube, there's a electrolytic here that's been replaced. And there is one other wax cap. I've already removed the 2 nuts off the front or top side. We'll pull that open, and yes, it's been replaced also. So it looks like the only capacitors that hasn't been replaced is that 3-section main filter cap just under the this choke here. You can see it down in there with this big resistor going to it. That has not been replaced. I think it's a 10 and 220s at 450 volts. So we'll probably need to get that changed out. Now guys, if this was smell-o-vision, you could smell what I'm smelling and know it's not vintage electronics. You can see this goldish tint to everything. If you notice, the band spread dial was real yellowed also, and you can see it on just about all the transformers here. In fact, on the front you can see what looks like something has run down the front, and up here on this top you can really see it good on this top edge here, and it's nicotine. So we've got to see, can we get all that cleaned off. Anyway, you can see that main filter cap is still in here, and looking at it, it looks original to the unit. Other than the nicotine, it looks real nice on the top side also. Little rusting around the transformer, but that's no problem. That's normal anyway, you'll see that on a lot of them. And so like this thing heated up, that nicotine smell got stronger. Okay, so here's a view from the back side. And it's got the correct fuse installed. And you know, the chassis is in excellent shape. It's very clean. There's some dust on it. I don't know why there's no, I don't see none of the nicotine on that or on the this cover for the there's gain capacitors in there, but you can definitely see on the back side here just how yellowed everything is. We'll just try a little something here and just see how hard this stuff is to get off. Yep, exactly what that is, nicotine. You can see that corner there just comes just as pretty and clean. Now some folks claim that nicotine on electronic equipment can be a good thing if it's not gotten inside of like variable resistors and stuff, that it actually, once it coats the metal, it protects it from oxidizing and changing color. So, and it looks real good underneath of it, but I'm not suggesting everybody go out and start smoking and cover their equipment in nicotine, because the stench gets pretty tough. So I'll have to disassemble the front faceplate and get that and wash it in some dish detergent, some warm water, and see if I can do some cleaning. I might be able to clean them right on the chassis and not have to remove them. I hope so. I don't want to get a whole lot of residue running down underneath the bottom here. But other than that, now the dial faces, there's pretty much not a whole lot. If you can't brush it off, there's not a whole lot I can do to those. If you get in there and you try to clean too much, you'll take the lettering right off of it. So we'll have to look at that and see. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and replace the capacitors from that multi-section can, and we're going to leave the can in. I've already moved the screws from this choke, so we can take it and just swing it right out of the way. And now we have access to our multi-section capacitor. Now this is a 3-section capacitor. It has 4 terminals on it, but only 3 active capacitors. The other one is just a ground, and it ties right straight to ground. If you zoom in there, you can see that a little better. Yeah, you can see that one lug right here on the top that doesn't have a designator to it. It's just ties directly to ground. So taking a quick peek here at our schematic, you can see right here beside the rectifier tube that there's a 10 microfarad cap here, another 20 here, and a 20 here. And then the 10 is at 500 volts, the 220 is at 450. I don't think I have a 10 at 500. I don't look, but I believe everything I got is at 450. So I might have to put in two 20s in series there just to make up that voltage difference. So the plan is I went ahead and took and cut the 20 microfarad, that's a 20, and the red and white is a 10. I went ahead and just clipped the top of the terminals off this capacitor, and I left the ground lug still attached. I took a terminal strip and straightened the tab out, and what I'm going to do is solder it directly to that terminal lug. This will keep everything low profile. Then I can run the 3 capacitors out over this way and put one single ground tie point on the other side. I'll go ahead and get that done. Okay, I got all the caps installed, got them nicely tucked down to the bottom of the chassis. I'm going to put a little hot glue on them. Got these two grounded on a little terminal strip over here just behind this can that I installed, and I ground the 10 UF up to this tube chassis. So all I got to do now is reinstall the choke, and that should be all the capacitors that you got to worry about in this thing. You know, like I said, it's full of these little green ceramic discs, and they're never prone to leaking, so you don't have to worry about that. That's one good thing about the 140X. Now if you get something like the 120 and different models like this, all these are going to be paper caps. So then we got the power supply capacitors taken care of. I'm going to go ahead and start looking for reasons why the sensitivity is so low on this receiver. Now the gain control that's right up here, I noticed as soon as I turn that gain control to, you know, turn the sensitivity down, it just about loses all of its receive. It's that quick. It's like it's you know, off and on. I've already checked the part's fine. It's just that the sensitivity of this receiver is in very bad shape. Now I don't know where the alignment is. I know the dial accuracy is off quite a bit, so that tells me that somebody has probably been in here turning and screwing around on things that they shouldn't be messing with. But one of the things that a lot of people fail to really look at is like these wafer switches. You know, you got your IF, your RF, and your antenna switching throughout this whole gang here. And if we get down here, we'll take a close look at this ceramic wafer switch on the front end, and you might can spot some of the problems right to start with. I'm going to see if I can get you in there so you can see. But this center contact ring is completely black, and there is a lot of tarnish on that. So that's going to you know, cause more problem with the sensitivity of this receiver. It also can be causing some of that popping that we're hearing. If these little fingers are not making good contact on that center ring, then this signal is not going to get through like it should, and it's riding on I can see dust and little debris all over them, so they have got to be cleaned. Now looking at the front side of it, it's not really that bad. Yeah, it's got some tarnish on it, but it's not black. And what it is, this is easy to get to. But on the other side of these wafers, they are just terrible. So I'm going to go ahead and get in there and clean them up a little bit. And one of the best tools I ever used at trying to clean these things. And the good thing about this band select switch, you can continually rotate it. It don't, it don't have a stop in it. It just keeps right on rotating. And as you can see, I'm using this pencil eraser. And you can see just how dirty this thing has got. And what I'm doing is just finding the place where I can get down in there and touch the ring. And then rotating it. And you see all that black stuff that's coming off in there. Then we can get in there and we can wash it out with some cleaner. And then go back and use some deoxit D5 on it. I'm going to go ahead and look across the bands to see where our alignment's at. I've got the band spread on 100 and the main tuning dial is on 0.600, and I'm feeding the signal into it. So it looks like the 0.54 to 1.32 megahertz band is pretty spot on there on that end of the band. We'll go over to the other end of the band. We'll go to 1 megahertz, and I'll punch 1 megahertz into the generator. And I'm hearing nothing. That's about 1.025 megahertz. So that one is off quite a bit on the high end. We'll go down to 1.3. Go down to the low end of the band. We'll go to about 1.35 megahertz. And it's pretty much spot on that end of the band. I'm going up to the higher end of the band. Say 3 megahertz. And that's about 3.11 megahertz. Again, the first two bands are spot on the low side, but off on the hot side. That tells a little bit of a story there also. We'll go on to 3.2 to 5.7. I'll go ahead and punch in 3.2. And you can see it's off the scale. Line it up on 5.6 megahertz. And that one's correct. Yeah, it's very close on the high side of the band. 5.7 to 10 megahertz. .7 megahertz. It's not even in the band range. Let's take it over to 6 megahertz. And that's about 5.8 on the low side. We'll carry it on up to 10. And it's about 9.95. And you can see 10 megahertz is just outside the band there. Let's look at the sensitivity while we're that's about minus 57 dBm. I turn the ABC off. You can barely hit it. Turn the sensitivity up. Going up with the amplitude. That's minus 77 dBm. Very noisy, and with the ABC on, you'll never hear it. There it is coming back. Yes, that shows us how far down the sensitivity is. And we'll go to 18 megahertz. Pick it out right there, just outside of 18 megahertz. We'll carry it on over to 30 megahertz. And it's very close on. Alright, so as you see, band coverage is just about everywhere. It's close on some ends, off on the other ones, and then at the same time it's far off on the bottom end, but you know, about right on the high end. So yeah, like I said before, it's been a lot of tuning done on this radio. Okay, so before we can go any further, at this point, what I need to do is go ahead and remove all the knobs and the two switches. Take this front faceplate out, give it a good cleaning, clean up the dials. Again, when you're cleaning these dials, you got to be very careful so you don't wipe the numbering off of them, because that print will come off easily. and there's a smudge right in the middle of this glass, and it looks like it's on the inside. So I need to take that apart and clean that and check this meter out and make sure it's working like it's supposed to. And you see it's drifting back down to 0 now. And once I get the faceplate off and cleaned it, I can go ahead and start cleaning in the inside of the chassis and trying to clean these yellowish off the inside. Shouldn't be too hard to do. So this is the graph out of the book. This is the selectivity curve, and that way you actually look at it on the spectrum analyzer, it's this way. And this kind of shows you how those curves should really look. You see that? And then look at this. It's nothing like it. Even when I turn the selectivity switch on to the first notch, which would be the widest, yeah, it's nowhere even close. So again, a lot of screwing has been done through the adjustment points on this radio. I'm going to go ahead and remove the 4 screws holding this cover on and the 2 lights that were mounted. I'm going to take a look under the old girl's apron and see how things are looking under there. In here you can see the main tuning gang. You know, it's 3 different capacitors in each compartment. It's all connect to one shaft so that when you tune one it tunes the other, and this is the band spread tuning gang. Here in the middle we have the antenna trimmer that's located just below this S meter, and it looks real good in there, but I need to get in here and clean these contacts where the ground tabs are, so we make sure we don't have no problem there. But other than that, it looks real good. That should be able to clean up with no problem whatsoever. Okay, to kind of know exactly where this receiver sits, we already know that the receiver gain is down, and we know that the VFO dials are not aligned correctly, and we did hear some popping and snapping a little bit at the beginning when we was listening to it, so we know there is some problems. But kind of what I'd like to do at this point is see where the alignment is sitting at. And unlike a lot of other receivers, like this receiver operates on 455 kilohertz. So instead of taking and feeding 455 kilohertz into it and peaking out the coils for the maximum gain, you have to kind of do this one with a visual method. Yeah, I know some people say that, and have gone in and aligned these by ear or with a scope and something, but to really get it the way it's supposed to be is you need to do in a visual alignment. And in your manual you'll see these curves here, and this is the IF. You can see it's at the widest point, and then as you turn through the crystal selectivity switch you start narrowing it up. So for standard AM listening, it would be in the off position, and you can see this one curve right here with this nice round peak and comes back down. But then as you start engaging the selectivity, you start narrowing up this peak, and this really helps, especially on CW, trying to pull out signals. But we just want to see where this is at, because the alignment on this thing takes quite a bit of time and there's a lot of work put into it. So here I got the you can see these 2 boxes are connected into the receiver. I have the tracking generator clipped onto the body of R6, which is a 100K resistor, and that's coming off of pin 7 of V2, and it's not touching the terminals, it's just, you know, clamped around the body of the resistor. Now the spectrum analyzer input is clipped onto this capacitor that's coming off of pin 2 of V7, and again, you know, it's just clipped to the capacitor and not actually touching the terminals. So we'll turn the tracking gen on. We'll put a center frequency of 455 kilohertz, and then put 10 below, 10 above, and we'll look at that area of the IF and see what it looks like. Okay, so to look at this, we're on the broadcast band. I have the crystal selectivity turned to off. The crystal phasing is on 12 o'clock. We're on the arrow. Doesn't matter what the gain is. You can turn it up and down. It's completely fine. We're in the receive position. Limiter's off. The main tuning is at the very low end of the band, and the band spread is on 100. So we'll turn right around here and we'll look at the spectrum analyzer and see exactly what we're getting here. So as you can see, this signal that's across here looks nothing like the signal I showed you on the paper just a moment ago, which is here. You can see this rounded peak at the top here, and like I say, we are in the off position of the crystal selectivity, but you can see here we got kind of humps. Some situation here that looks like a good signal, but for this it is not a good signal. So when I reach over and turn the crystal selectivity, we should see it narrow down. You can already see there's a peak here and there's a dip on this side. So we'll go to position number 2 and see it did not a whole lot change. Position 3, not a lot changing. Position 4, it dropped a little bit. Position 5, you see it still dropped a little bit. So something is way off in this IF section. Again, that's off. That's on position 1. Now if I rotate the crystal phasing, we should be able to pull up a notch on either side. There, and you can see that notch coming up right here. And I'll go back to 12 o'clock and we'll pull up the other side. But you see nothing happened until I got to about, looks like the 1 o'clock position. But you can see now that notch is back there, and we're in the 7 o'clock position. That's over on the 10 o'clock position, which is on 10. So yeah, something is way off. I'll go back to the 12 o'clock position, and you can see that notch is still there. That's back on the off position. Back on. Now you can see that notch is gone, but we do have a little notch on this side. Again, I'll turn the crystal phase. Just as soon as I touched it and turn it, you saw that notch come up. And I'm not able to do anything with it. Yeah, it's very erratic. It's all over the place. It's almost like the phasing control is not working like it's supposed to, which tells me looks like there may be a problem inside this IF can. I'm not sure yet till we really get into it. So yeah, that's already a problem there. Now again, we said that the frequency was off on the dials and it had a low gain. Well, these IF transformers not being aligned correctly or having a problem will definitely affect the gain of this receiver. So it looks like we got quite a bit of troubleshooting in this IF section to find out just what's going on, plus a lot of alignment as well. And it does take quite a bit of time to sit here and go through the alignment on this receiver. So as you can see with the crystal selector off, how wide this is. I mean, it's very wide. It's, you know, way too wide than what it should be. It should be a lot narrower. If I come in here and go to span and go to 50 kilohertz, narrowed it on down, that's about how it should look at 20 kilohertz. So yeah, it's way off. And you know, bear with me, I'm still learning this Rigol spectrum analyzer, working with these old type of receivers. So, you know, I'm pretty sure I got everything set correctly. But yeah, I'm still learning some things on this. And this is actually going to be the first receiver I've ever adjusted using this particular spectrum analyzer. Okay, well, we got the spectrum analyzer connected back to it, just so we can get one last look at the waveform that we're seeing over there on the spectrum analyzer. And you can see I have it in the off position. I'm going to turn the crystal selectivity over to 1. We can see our pattern, while waveform does not look like it should. Even in the off position, you see the waveform is very spread out. It's not narrow like it should. And I'm trying to make sure I got everything on the spectrum analyzer set correctly. It's in the frequency 455, resolution band width is 1 kilohertz, BBW 30 hertz. I got a little span on 20 kilohertz, and frequency stop and start looks good, but we're just not able to see that waveform how it really should look like from what we see in the manual. If we turn it this way, this waveform should have more of a peak here, and we should be able to measure about 6 dB down, and that's not even, no ways close. Then when we select to our crystal selector to 1, we see our waveform doesn't look that great, and it does drop down, as you see. In fact, if we put the marker back in there, that's at minus 35, that's minus 41, and as you can see, when I go from crystal selectivity 1 to 2, nothing really happens. We go to 3, it just moves just a tiny bit. That's 4, it dropped down to minus 45.2, and then when we go to 5, it does drop quite a bit down to minus 53.5 or somewhere in that area. So something is definitely going on with the IF chain. And see, I am in manual position. So position 1, if I rotate crystal phasing, we can see a notch trying to come up now, but it's really not pronounced. And when we go back to the other side, you can see where the notch is trying to come up, but then it just all goes away. One of the problems I do see is that as you seen earlier, once in a while it'll just like it's hung up and turn into phase control. Doesn't do anything. So we definitely got something going in this IF chain, or in the phasing control crystal selectivity. So we're going to have to sit down and troubleshoot that. Now there is some other things that well, let me tell you what I'll do. Since I'm in position 1, I want to turn the gain down, go over to BFO. Now you see we're pretty much centered there. Now that's the waveform, how it should look, as you see in the BFO control. Now if I turn the CW tone, we can see that move to either side of center frequency just like it should. And we turn that back in the middle. Yes, it's straight up on 0 now. So that seems to be a problem. Also, I'm just about thinking we have a problem with the ABC also. And this is the reason why I'll tell you that.
Law enforcement.
Okay, we're on the broadcast band, and got the antenna hooked up. We'll listen to it.
Charles Petty in the WBTF News Center. Hi, this is Mike Davis for Zero Res. There's nothing more important.
This is in the manual mode. I'm going to switch over to ABC.
And they've continued to clean homes and offices.
And you see we just about lost all of our volume. We still got a good we got a good signal strength, but the volume is totally gone. So yeah, I think something in the ABC circuit is having a little bit of difficulty also. So we're gonna have to troubleshoot that. So we got 2 sections that's just going crazy, and first thing I'm coming to mind, voltages. Perhaps there's some voltages in this rig that's not right. Our manual does have a voltage chart for all the tubes, so we can pretty much go through there and check the voltages on the tubes, see if we can figure out what's going on. We'll be able to check the ABC voltage going to the grids of those other tubes, RF amp and so forth, and see what's going on with that. Well, I went ahead and removed the front of this Hammarlund HQ140X and went ahead and started cleaning up stuff. Now you can see the dials are nice and white now. If you remember in the shot of the front up, you can see that it was just completely yellowed. And all it was, I was scared that the material itself had yellowed, but it wasn't. It was just nothing but nicotine. A little warm water, some dishwashing soap has cleaned them and turned them back nice and white. When you're cleaning something like this, you've got to be very careful. Go in a place where, you know, like on this edge where this numbering is, and wash there, because this isn't seen in the window. And if you see these numbers come off, don't go any further. Find something else. Sometimes just warm water and a cloth will take a lot of it off, but these was able to clean up pretty good. I pretty much got the front cleaned and got all the shafts good and clean, and I'm in the process now of putting these dials back on and realigning them. And to do that, you just set the capacitors full mesh so that they're level across the bottom, and then you can push this shaft out. There is 2 gears on the inside that this one gear on the back of the shaft mesh with, and they got 2 springs in them, and what it is, the gears work, you know, with each other to take the backlash out. once you get it back in, rotate the dial to the stop. You'll see these two lines are pretty much straight up, and then rotate them two gears from each other and push the main little short shaft and the gear back together, and that'll hold the backlash out. So I just want to let you see this before I put the faceplate back on. And like I say, it's cleaned up rather nice. So that part's looking good now. So in part 2 of this, we'll sit here and we'll go through the schematic, and we'll also go through the voltage chart. Now, like I said, we got voltages for the tubes. The schematic itself has no voltages on it. It doesn't even tell us what the voltage coming out of the power supplies are. We know the rated voltage of the caps, but we don't know the rated voltage of the power supply until we sit down and study it pretty good. So maybe by going through this and going through this voltage chart, we can start checking some voltages and see just what is causing these two issues. I wanted to go ahead and get it cleaned up by taking the front panel and stuff off, and had to take the dials off, get all that cleaned up and put back together before we started any type of troubleshooting, because once we start troubleshooting, we don't want to be taking things back apart. That would just cause more headache for us. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for this part. I already spent quite a bit of time in this. Don't want to make these videos too awful long for you. Some people just don't have the time to sit down look at a long video at one time, but you know, we'll break this up in steps and we'll go through it. So maybe the next time we can get on in here and do some troubleshooting and find out just what's going on. Anyway, if you don't mind, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And you can also check us out over on Patreon. So until then, we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.